Welcome to Now Included Unfiltered, a podcast to share real, unfiltered stories right from our community. This week, we're taking it to the streets of the Windy City, and we're on a trolley. We catch up with Victoria Tyler, also known as the baddie with the bag. She's an ulcerative colitis survivor, thriver, healthcare advocate, and now a Now Included ambassador. We dive into her journey with UC, fighting for a diagnosis, medical gaslighting, reducing stigma around UC, and advocating for major change. These are unfiltered conversations. This is an unshakable community. Come on, we've saved you a seat. My name is Tiffany Whitlow, and this is Now Included Unfiltered. We are here in the Windy City, real Windy City of Chicago, Illinois, and I am honored to have Victoria Tyler here with us today to tell us about her journey with UC as a survivor, a thriver, and how she's been able to utilize social media to grow her following, to increase awareness about UC. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, sis. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. There is so much to unpack with you.
There is.
But let me start by, I, of course, have a blended family, which a lot of people know, and so do you.
I do.
Listen, we got to keep it real. How on earth do you manage being out here, a social media influencer, managing disease, and, of course, managing a family? Like, I got to start with the hot and heavy. What you doing with all these kids?
Get right into it, right?
What
you doing with all these kids? You know, I'm balancing. That's what I'm doing. I always tell people, if you are a I Love Lucy fan, remember the episode in the chocolate factory? That's me. I'm like grabbing, stuffing, rolling. I'm trying to put it all together. That's me. That's me every day. And it is definitely trial and error, learning how to balance, but especially learning how to prioritize myself and my health. That's been a really hard thing to do.
Goodness. So my 18-year-old just told me, he said, Mom, you know, I realized that you're doing this for the first time too. And I was like, somebody taught you a thing or two. You gave me some grace, okay? But he was like, you know, sometimes I'm like, why did my mom do this or why did my mom do that? I realize you're doing it for the first time too.
Yes.
So, I mean, I had to start with that because I love being able to really interview other people who come from this blended family. When people look at me and what we have going on, they're like, wait, it's you and your husband and the grandparents from your baby daddy's girlfriend's family. What is going on here?
It's a village.
It's a village. People get real confused.
They get very confused. I'm so serious. I took my bonus daughter to the dentist, and the staff was trying to figure out the dynamic because her other grandmother was there. My bonus daughter is biracial. And they were like, okay, who is this woman? Who is she to you? You guys have the same last name, but you don't look alike.
Yeah.
And I told them, we're family. We're blended family.
Yeah.
I co-parent with my husband's ex-wife. We all work together for the betterment of our children. We put our mess aside and we focus on the kids.
Yeah.
And it's been smooth sailing. When we got the adult drama out and focused on the kids, everything became easy.
That is literally what I tell people. When you can put your own feelings aside, when you're truly over each other, and you can move on in life,
that is key.
Like, really, it's kind of fun, honestly.
It really is.
Yeah.
I have great conversations with our other mom. We're friends. We text. We buy each other gifts. We give each other advice. But we are a united front when it comes to our children. Yeah. Nothing gets past us.
Yeah, so I have to give you your flowers there because I was like, we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
But everybody who knows Tiffany Whitlow know I like to talk about the kids and jump right into the family. And that is really the heart of the matter. And I really feel like you can't prioritize yourself, your work, or anything else without making sure the family front is
100%.
So thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity. So tell me a little bit about UC, about your journey. You know, we talk often about a lot of our community members have a really hard time getting the right diagnosis.
Yes.
And so I always love hearing people's stories and their journeys on like what it actually took to get the right diagnosis for you.
Yeah. So I'll start from the very beginning. Let's talk about what ulcerative colitis is, or UC. Yeah. Ulcerative colitis is an inflammatory bowel disease, and it affects the large intestines. In my case, my entire large intestines was affected with bleeding ulcers that led to frequent trips to the bathroom, blood in my stool, nausea, vomiting, weight loss, joint pain, skin rashes, hair loss.
So did you go to a doctor and they were like, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this?
I did. I went to the doctor. I spent a lot of time in the emergency room.
Wow.
And they told me all type of things, that I had food poisoning, that I had hemorrhoids. I even got to a point where I started doing my own research. I went out and I bought a Merck manual and I looked up the symptoms: blood in my stool, nausea, fatigue, weight loss, abdominal pain. And there were 2 diagnoses: Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. I took that information back to my doctor and I said, hey, I think I've got UC. You know what my doctor told me? He said, there's no way you can have ulcerative colitis.
Wait, is this your primary care physician?
This is my primary care physician. He said there is no way I could have ulcerative colitis.
Why?
Because it only affects white Jewish men.
This is not the first time we've heard this, right? We
not.
have people who are listening, who are watching, and literally we hear this all the time.
Yeah.
You really can get something that is primarily a white person's disease.
Absolutely.
Or only reflects in certain populations of people.
Oh, there's so many layers to that. There's so many layers to that. But I went from 16 when I first saw blood in my stool.
At 16? How scary was that?
It wasn't scary. I didn't even know that anything was wrong. I saw the blood in my stool. I looked at it. I said, and I went on about my day. We don't talk about what happens in the bathroom. That is a huge problem. I had no idea that there was anything alarming going on with my body.
Wow.
I didn't know what a healthy stool looked like. I didn't know how many times I should be going to the restroom. I didn't understand my body.
Wow.
So I didn't even know to ask for help. It wasn't until it didn't stop. When I told my doctors, hey, I'm noticing blood in my stool, they said, oh, you've got hemorrhoids. It'll go away. And it never went away.
Wow.
Kept coming back every few weeks. And then it started coming back every few days. And then I couldn't go a day without losing copious amounts of blood.
Wow.
I went from a few drops of blood in my stool to going to the bathroom over 30 times a day.
Are you serious?
I'm totally serious. I thought I was dying. I called my mom and told my mom to make funeral arrangements. I had no idea what was going on.
You were so young having to go through this?
Young. No one, I kept telling the doctors, hey, I think I've got this thing. And everyone told me no. It wasn't until I almost died that they actually gave me a colonoscopy. So
because you're so young. I mean, that's definitely not standard of care under any circumstance.
Not at all. And further than that, I have no family history of inflammatory bowel disease.
Wow.
No one else in my family has this condition.
Wow.
So I was in Atlanta. I was modeling, living my best life. 21. And I had a stomach ache and it would not go away. And I took a few days off of work. And those few days turned into a week. Oh. I went in the bathroom and I propped a pillow up on the wall and I sat on the toilet for 7 days.
No way.
7 days. I could not eat. I could not drink. The only thing I could do was go to the bathroom. If I tried to stand up, I would faint because I was so emaciated. I lost so much blood.
And you had already gone to the emergency room. You've seen so many doctors. At this point, you're mentally tired. You're physically tired. You are drained. You don't know what to do.
Die. I knew it. I was like, well, this is it.
So you truly were your only resource at some point in time.
I was the only one. So when I went in the bathroom, I was 130 pounds. When I crawled out of the bathroom, I was 98 pounds.
No way.
That's when they said, you might have UC. I'm grateful for the doctor that saved my life. And I was able to finally get a colonoscopy. And I was diagnosed with severe ulcerative colitis. My entire large intestine was involved. At that point, we got right into the medications, right? And every medication on the market that was designed for ulcerative colitis, I tried them all. They failed me all. Let me say that again, because I used to say I failed them all. Oh, yes. I had to reshift my mindset because those medications failed me. I never touched remission. I literally spent my entire adult life in and out of hospitals, cycling through different medications. Am I allowed to say the names?
Yes.
Humira, Remicade, 6-MP, Prednisone, Stelara. I even tried chemotherapy at one point. Nothing worked. And then the conversation about an ostomy came up.
Okay, wait, I have a question.
Sure.
So through this whole process, you have one doctor that's primarily treating you? You have a series of doctors.
I have different
So
doctors.
did you ever feel like they were a real medical team? Like they were leaning in, one person understood what the next person was doing? Like tell me about this team that was trying to treat you.
I never felt like everyone was on the same page.
Okay.
I really felt like I was left to my own devices. A lot of times there wasn't follow-up. It was just, here's a new medicine, go try it. Here's another pill, go try it. Here's some more prednisone, go try it. There was never a conversation about my diet. There was never a conversation about my lifestyle outside of the clinic. It was just more medicine, more drugs, try this, try that.
Did you try anything that was all natural? Are there any options? I mean, I would imagine diet for UC is like the first thing that people talk about.
Yeah, and unfortunately, well, fortunately, I guess, I'm not sure, but for me, it just didn't work. Ulcerative colitis is an autoimmune disease. So it was already done, right? But because so much time had gone by between when I first saw blood and my diagnosis, and then another 10, 15 years of trying all these different medications, so much damage had been done to my colon, there was no saving it. And I didn't even know, because the medications were like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So even though I felt good at the time, inside,
I actually can't really process putting a Band-Aid on a bullet. I'm like,
but that's what it felt
wow,
like. That's really what it was. It was just, we're going to give you, and you know what they would tell me? You're so young. We don't want to have to give you an ostomy because you're so young. And that gave me a really negative feeling about ostomy bags, because, man, if the doctor doesn't want to give me one, I certainly don't want one.
Yeah.
My mindset is completely shifted.
But they also want to give you a bunch of medication that wasn't working. I'm just like,
yeah, I feel like there was some levels to that. But
yeah,
it was a very stressful journey. And people don't talk about how chronic illness, it doesn't just affect you physically. It affects you mentally.
Yeah.
It affects you spiritually.
I mean, your relationship, your everything. Yeah.
My marriage, my children grew up in the hospital.
Yeah.
My children grew up coming to visit me in infusion centers.
Yeah.
So being in a hospital setting to my children is very normal. They get excited. They love the smell of the hospital, where someone else's child may feel anxiety when they walk into the hospital.
Yeah.
My children feel comfort in a hospital setting.
Are any of them going to be doctors?
Actually, yes. My daughter is going to Prairie View University.
Yay!
And she's going to study psychology.
Okay.
She wants to work with adolescents.
Okay.
But my daughter used to give me my Stelara injections.
Wow.
You know, at 9 years old, she was giving me injections in my stomach.
For a 9-year-old to have to help in that manner, I mean, major kudos that now she knows what career path she wants.
Yes.
But what a big task.
That is a huge task for a 9-year-old. I just can't imagine what it might have been like for my children watching me deteriorate, watching my weight fluctuate up and down. You know, prednisone, sometimes you're swollen, and then sometimes, you know, I'm 98 pounds. So my weight went from 98 to over 200 over and over again. Just what it did to me physically, mentally. It was a journey to get to this place.
So you are still in this place.
Yeah.
So where are you now? Where are you today?
I never thought I would be where I am today. First of all, I'm here with you, and that's a blessing.
It is.
Because I really did not think I would live past 30.
Wow.
I made up in my mind that my illness was so bad I wouldn't make it to see 30.
Wow.
But I definitely never thought that I would be on the advocacy side of my journey.
Yeah.
I was so heavy with grief, just thinking about everything I endured on my road to diagnosis, on my road to getting equity, right? Being treated fairly in a doctor's office. I never thought I would have the strength to now reach back and help people that are experiencing something similar.
Yeah.
That is the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm so passionate about this work. There are a lot of people hurting. There are a lot of people fighting for the same things that we're fighting for.
Yeah.
So any opportunity I get to use my platform, especially for my cousins, I'm going to use my platform.
No, I think that's a great point.
This podcast is brought to you by Acclinate's Now Included community.
Get trusted resources backed by medical pros for your health. Tap into real experiences from people who look like you and find a safe place for your story. Walk into a space where being you is celebrated and find your power. Your health, your story, your power.
You know, when we first started the Now Included platform, people thought I was crazy. People might still think I'm crazy. And what I really knew is there's an opportunity to highlight someone who is an influencer but doesn't believe they're an influencer, or have the following to be considered a micro influencer in any capacity.
Yeah.
And so I genuinely have felt like when we're making really big decisions, you often can go to someone who you have effective trust with, who has no social following at all, who is not deemed an influencer, but because of them sharing their story, you changed a decision in your own life. And I think that it is so powerful that you started with no followers.
Yeah.
I believe you've hit over 500,000 followers on all social platforms. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And when you think about going from 0 to 500,000, tell me if you considered yourself in those earlier days to be an influencer, and how are you leveraging this power of what social media is today, what it is turning into with the power of AI to really change the game and let people know, like, I'm normalizing what y'all thought was not normal.
That part. So I really still don't consider myself an influencer. What? I don't. What I made a commitment to do on social media is be transparent, to show up as myself every day, and to show the good, the bad, the ugly, to show the raw truth of what it's like living with an autoimmune disease, and now specifically living with an ostomy bag.
I really believe that an influencer, through transparency and through the different transitions, is influencing how someone makes a decision or where they make a decision. So I know you might not consider yourself to be an influencer, but I believe that is the goal in the end, right?
Yes, my husband would say I am absolutely an influencer.
Thank you. So I mean, truly, like, I'm joking, not joking to say, like, girl, accept your flowers because you're doing the thing. When you're really thinking about who you're trying to influence, they probably are going through something that's really ugly and dark in their minds. They're like, they might be bleeding.
Literally.
They are physically in pain, and they've been told a lot of things from a lot of doctors.
The amount of DMs that I get every day, and I try with honest effort to respond to them all, because it's not just like, hey V, nice to meet you. I get messages about people that have lost a parent.
Wow.
Because their mother received an ostomy and refused to eat.
Wow.
Because she was so ashamed of the stigma associated with living with an ostomy.
Wow.
I get messages from people that say, hey, actually, I've been seeing blood in my stool for years, and I didn't know that anything was wrong. I get messages from people that say, you know what, you just gave me the courage to go and get a colonoscopy, or I've decided today that I'm going to move forward with the surgery because I see you living.
I love it.
And that is the reason I keep doing it. It is not easy to get on Beyonce's internet and say I poop in a bag. It's very hard to do. But I do believe that the success that I've earned over this time is just from that, from being raw, from crying, from showing them like, hey, I have good days, I have bad days. My healing journey is not linear, and it's not over. It's daily work, sometimes hour by hour, minute by minute.
Wow. And so, I mean, even really unpacking the ostomy bag, I think you're normalizing what the lived experience is like, because I would imagine there's other women who also have a bag who are like, ooh, I didn't know I could talk about this, or I didn't know how other people would look at me. We actually get so many people who reach out and say they're afraid to share their story because they're not sure what their employer's going to say. Or if they have life insurance, how their life insurance companies might look at whatever they're going through. That's crazy.
That is so real. It's real. I've had employers pull me aside and say, hey, we saw your TikTok. We didn't know you had an ostomy bag. And
I didn't know I needed to disclose that. Where's that in the new hire paperwork?
I mean, I'm functioning. I'm doing my job. I'm excelling. I'm living my life. This is a very small piece of who I am. And that's another thing I do on my platform. My content is all over the place. I give people a real peek inside of my real life. So we range from gardening, fitness, family, food, fashion, and fun. But on top of all of that, I'm also an ostomate. I'm also a IBD survivor, an advocate. I'm not just one thing, I'm many things. But the key to all of those things was my ostomy bag and my diagnosis.
Well, I know to know us is to know. Don't be putting us in a box, okay? There's no box big enough. There's no box big enough. I don't care what size it is. I don't care what shape it is. There's no box big enough. Do not put me in restrictions.
No.
Literally, I cannot.
I won't niche down. I've had a lot of companies tell me you need to niche down and focus on one thing, but that's not reality. And the people that follow me love that I share the different parts of my life, because I'm showing them that even though I experienced this thing, even though it took me 20 years to get here, I'm thriving now, and you can too. And let me show you how. Let me show you how I do it.
Yeah, and to each its own. To each its own.
That's it.
Because there might be some people out there listening, watching, to be like, but y'all started on that blended family thing, and my situation is not your situation, but that's okay too.
That's right.
No, so tell me a little bit about medical gaslighting. I know that that's something that you kind of touched on a lot on your platform. Unpack that a little bit for me.
Oh, man, there's so much. I feel like it's a shared experience, especially in our community. And it's something that we don't talk about enough. We kind of internalize that. It's this big, dirty secret. But everyone is not telling the same lie.
Oh.
And if we are all going to the doctor and we're all coming home saying, I felt disrespected. I don't feel like they were listening to me. I'm being accused of shopping around for pain medication.
Yeah.
I had to tell a doctor when I went in for help, I was having horrible pain. I said, listen, I need help. I'm in pain. Here are the things that are going on. You see my chart. The doctor looked at my chart and he said, I feel that you're bouncing around looking for pain medicine. And I had to take my name tag off and get very real and raw. And I told him, I said, sir, do you know that if I was just looking for pain medicine, I wouldn't stop at the emergency room.
Oh.
I would just call my cousin
Wow.
and get it from him. If I just wanted to get a fix and get a feel good, I would just call one of my cousins.
Yeah.
I'm here because I need help. I'm here because I'm trying to trust this medical system. I'm losing faith in the system because of how you're treating me.
Yeah.
Medical gaslighting
you're
is
treating
real.
me.
Yes.
You're a part of the problem right now.
Because of your bias, because of your prejudice, whether it's covert or overt, it is not my problem. I'm here doing what I'm supposed to do. I saw something wrong. I came for help. You need to work on that.
Yeah.
So I lately have been telling everyone to remember this very important thing. The medical team works for you. They work for you. You should interview your doctors. You should interview your nurses. And if there's not an alignment on your care, fire them. Interview another doctor. You have got to advocate for yourself because no one is going to do it for us.
Is there anything else that's that you would consider next for you? I mean, you're thriving on social media. You're sharing. I mean, you're flying across the United States, sharing your story. You really are. I mean, did I hear Fenty? I mean, did I hear that there was a partnership with Fenty? Oh, that's so good.
I'm the first woman with an ostomy bag.
Oh my
to
God.
be a Fenty ambassador, and I'm blown away. I'm excited. That representation is so important. I got so many messages from ostomates, from doctors, from nurses. Everyone reached out and they were just like, this is unbelievable. This is groundbreaking. What it was for me was a stamp of approval.
Yeah.
Because Rihanna said I'm sexy. And if Rihanna says you're sexy, baby, you're sexy.
Yes, yes. On Beyonce's internet. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I mean, kudos, major kudos.
Thank you.
I mean, you really are the epitome of why we started. We said everyone has a story.
Yes.
Everyone has a journey. And through sharing your journey, through being transparent and authentic, you've been authentic through the whole thing as well. You know, you really can change the system. You can change the game. You can change someone else's perspective of the system, of what they're going through, their lived experience. And so just major kudos. Thank you so much for being honest and so vulnerable and sharing your story.
Thank you.
I mean, we do this for people like you, and I'm so glad that I get to do it with you.
I'm glad I get to do it with you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me tell you what's next.
Okay.
What's on the agenda, what my goals are.
Tell me.
I recently had an opportunity to lobby Congress.
Okay.
And I'm pushing for change. I'm pushing for equity in the healthcare space, specifically in IBD. And what's on the horizon for me is more advocacy, more stories, more work. I want to bring more awareness to this. It breaks my heart when I see young women and men that look like me being diagnosed with colon cancer. Whenever they talk about their symptoms and they say like, this has been going on for years and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm using my voice, I'm using my platform, and I'm trying to deliver it in a fun, comedic way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my goal is to make sure that no one has to experience what I experienced. 20 years to get to this point is 20 years too long. It's too long. No one should have to go through that. All of the hoops we had to jump through, all of the failures, all of the accusations, the gaslighting. No one should ever have to experience that.
What do you wish people knew about this invisible disease?
Oh, I wish people knew that inflammatory bowel disease is real. And even though it's invisible, right? I may not look sick. I may not look like I'm hurting. It does not mean that I am not suffering physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I compare inflammatory bowel disease to a thief.
Ooh.
Have you ever been robbed? You ever been held at gunpoint? The thing about a thief is you can identify that thief. You could pick them out in a lineup. But when the thief lives inside of you, and the thief has access to everything, not just your money, not just your jewels, your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your body, your health.
Wow.
When that thief has access to all of those things and it's got his hands on everything, what do you do?
Oh my gosh, that analogy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I took my life back. That thief had to go.
Wow. I love that you took your life back.
Yeah.
I am here for that. Man, you were like, have you ever been robbed? No. No.
But
I mean, and fortunately, I really, honestly, I mean, the only time I've been robbed is when I was pregnant. And I had to give my body up to a person living inside of me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So.
But even that, right? Feeling that draining, right? That fatigue.
Yeah.
Your body is not your body.
Yeah.
You don't recognize yourself. That is what living with an invisible illness is like.
Wow.
You don't recognize yourself because the medications make you gain weight. You don't recognize yourself because the medications mess with your mind and your mentality. You don't recognize yourself because you're not able to do the things you used to be able to do, the things you want to be able to do.
Wow.
You cannot. So there have been many times I looked in the mirror and I did not recognize myself.
Wow.
It took me years to shed that identity of being a patient, being someone with inflammatory bowel disease, to saying I'm a thriver, I'm a survivor, and now I'm an advocate. Now I'm going to use my platform to make sure no one ever has to feel that way again.
Wow. Victoria, tell us how people can connect with you on social media.
You guys can find me on TikTok. You can call me V. That's the letter U, CanCallMeVee. I'm also on Instagram. You can call me VIG.
I love it. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for sharing your story on this platform, on all of the platforms. You are now included.
I am included?
Thank you for listening to Now Included Unfiltered. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give us a follow and leave a 5-star review. We'll see you next week. Next week on Now Included Unfiltered.
Something we talk about a lot in my house is just your mental health. I feel like there was a negative stigma around like mental health because people talked about mental health when they talked about mental health illnesses.
Yes.
What do you say to your athletes?
Everyone thinks that, oh, I have a problem, oh, I don't want to tell anything, I don't want to have the conversation. It is okay, and that's the one thing that we want them to understand. And the good thing about that our head coach does, as well as our staff, we're vulnerable. They hear about our ups and downs. They hear about what we're used to, what we struggle with. That gets them thinking like, oh wow, you guys are human too. And you guys, when you guys walk out of those doors, you don't just poof in the air.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot on our platform of like, you can change these narratives that currently exist through sharing your lived experiences.